Kelsey, and today I'm going to be showing you 4 easy and delicious Instant Pot recipes. Now in the bottom of my Instant Pot, I have 3/4 of a cup of chicken broth, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and I'm adding 1 cut up onion. Then you want to lay your chicken on top. This recipe calls for a pound of chicken. I wanted to go a little lighter on the meat in this recipe, so I just used a few slices that were left in the bag. Then pour a can of fire roasted tomatoes over the top, but do not stir it. Set your Instant Pot to manual and pressure cook for 10 minutes. Now while that is cooking, you want to take 9 corn tortillas and cut them in half. When the chicken is done, you want to take it out of the Instant Pot, drain it, and then you're going to shred it. Now put the Instant Pot back in, and this recipe called for an accessory that I actually did not have, so I was trying this without it, and it worked out perfectly. I just buttered the bottom, assembled half of the tortillas, added some of the chicken, and then my tomatoes were actually still in the colander in the sink, so I added some tomatoes, covered it with cheese, put on some red enchilada sauce, and then repeat the process. And then you are going to pressure cook this for an additional 10 minutes. Then I did a natural release for 10 minutes and then a quick release. And I was really impressed with how these turned out. All of these meals were approved by both my 4-year-old and my 2-year-old.
Logan, how's the food?
Good.
How's the food, buddy? Do you like it? It was so good.
Next, I'm going to be making creamy shrimp scampi. I started by setting my Instant Pot to saute, chopped up an onion, and then added some butter to the Instant Pot. Added in my cut up onion and a big spoonful of minced garlic. And then cooked that until slightly translucent. Then I added in half a teaspoon of paprika, now pour in 1 cup of chicken broth, add some pepper, and approximately 2 cups of linguine noodles. Then the recipe calls for a pound of raw frozen shrimp. All I had was tail-on shrimp. If I were to redo this recipe though, I would use already peeled shrimp, or I would just thaw the shrimp first and then peel the tails off. It still worked out. It was just kind of a pain having to go back and peel these before we could actually eat them. So anyway, that pressure cooked for 2 minutes, and then I added more butter and a half cup of half and half. Then you switch back to saute, and I just added a whole bag of Parmesan cheese, and you want to cook this till it starts to get thick and creamy and delicious. When all your cheese is melted and it's to the desired consistency, you just dish this up and serve.
How is it?
Good.
Is that good shrimp?
My third recipe for this video is Instant Pot chicken and dumplings. I did modify this recipe a bit. I didn't want to cook the chicken, so I just purchased a rotisserie chicken instead. I also added corn. The recipe did not call for corn. So I pulled all of the meat off of the chicken, and half of it is going to be going in this recipe and the other half is going to be going in my freezer for a later meal. Now, a frugal cooking hack is to save the carcass of your chicken and use it to make your own broth. I just added some water and the carcass to a pot, added a decent amount of salt, and I boiled it. Then you're going to remove all of the bones. And I love doing this because you're really getting your money's worth for the chicken. And I just feel like it tastes a lot better than store-bought. Now I'm going to scoop what I plan to freeze into a jar and set aside the rest for the chicken and dumplings. You also want to be sure to leave a little space at the top of your jar to allow for expansion. And this will keep really well in your freezer for probably a few months. It never lasts that long in my house. Now I'm going to be preparing my dumplings, which are simply a tube of refrigerator biscuit dough. All I'm going to be doing is cutting these up into small pieces. Now you could leave these as big or small as you like. We kind of like bigger dumplings, so I left them a little bigger. I just quartered them. Now to the Instant Pot, I'm going to be adding the frozen peas, corn, and chopped baby carrots, along with half of that rotisserie chicken, and about 3 cups of my homemade broth. Now you of course could just use boxed broth, but I had that rotisserie chicken, so I just wanted to show you how to make my own and use that. Then I'm going to add a big spoonful of garlic, what is supposed to be 2 teaspoons of oregano. There was a malfunction with the pour. A teaspoon of basil and some salt and pepper. Then you're just going to drop your cut up biscuits all over the top of this. Now you're going to pressure cook this for 5 minutes. Now this was super easy, super delicious, and it was not even overpowered by oregano. The final recipe I'll be sharing is Instant Pot Country Shrimp Boil. Everything you'll need is laid out here, and you'll want to be sure to have some Old Bay seasoning.
Started by sauteing some garlic in butter. You could add onion as well, but we just didn't have any, so I skipped that. And while that is sauteing, I went ahead and prepped my other ingredients. My potatoes, I just gave them a rough peel, and I husked the corn, chopped the meat, sliced my lemon. I'll be juicing that later. Now this ingredient is the star of this recipe, so you want to use a generous amount. Angle your potatoes, trying not to splash myself. Top it off with more of that Old Bay. In comes cut kielbasa sausage, lemon juice. Trying not to get any seeds in there. Now this recipe doesn't call for it. This is just me, for good measure. I'm gonna pop another little bit of butter on there. Pop the lid on, make sure it's on sealing. Now you're just going to turn the saute off. Manual. Now you just need to pressure cook this for 4 minutes. Look at my son. Cool shoes, dude.
Then when that's done, you want to add a bag of frozen shrimp and pressure cook that for another 3 minutes. Then I served this up with a side of mac and cheese just because I wasn't sure my kids would eat it, but they actually really liked it. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!